Hello, this is Mario, and I'm going to show you another turn against Protoss game. This one's a little bit longer than the last one, however, it's still the general basic build order. Some of the feedback that I got was that the actual the actual game was too short, and they wanted to see it play in the long term, so I'm going to go ahead and show you that. We're going to play this one on ×2 since it's a 45-minute game. The basic things, still stand in order. Not exactly too keen of a wall off, so I'm going to go ahead and drop the supply depot near the mineral line. Not enough to where it's really blocking it, but that buys me some space off a little bit in the future. So as long as it's not too heavily used, it actually doesn't cut my minerals at all. I almost always put my barracks directly under my command center, so my SCVs can go ahead and pull off and assist them if needed. Currently, I'm setting my SCV for common cheese points. This is kind of a short 2-player map. There are lots of people who try to cheese on here, so I'm just going to some basic areas, grab the watchtower, and then go ahead and go to the space. So it's another 12 barracks, 13 gas, 15 orbital, command. Spread up my other supply depot a little bit so I can see like a mothership core coming in, or maybe an oracle flag. I'm scouting out of space, and I do see that it's 1 gas. And off of this, I could realize it's most likely going to be a macro game. I dropped my factory. I have my 2 Marines out as normal. Now I'm saving my gas for my reactor. Still not seeing another gas, not really seeing a zealot being made. I go ahead and decide to check the expansion. So I go ahead and put an engineering bay because I'm pretty sure that either he's four-gating me or he's going to expand. And if he doesn't try to kill the engineering bay, I know that he's choosing me. So I swap the barracks in the factory. I see where his mothership core is, so I'm not too concerned about having 3 Marines out here to stop that. I get my 2 Hellions. Another thing to note is that after I drop the command center, I do drop another supply depot, and maybe even a second one, just to make sure that I don't get supply blocked. So I try to go up to 3 or 4 Marines. I have my Hellions out, and now they will be assuming map control. It's time where I check the watchtowers and make sure that he's not got a pylon scouting my every movement, a probe scouting my every movement. I send my own Marines to the watchtowers and try to snap out this out. Anything small kind of helps, and I poke up the ramp just to see what he's doing. I'm also building my armory in case I have to defend the big push or all in, which also is why I drop the starport, so I can either drop harass or use medevacs to keep my Hellbats alive as I attack him. I have my barracks make another reactor so I can drop another factory in a moment. Get my second gas and have the supply depot. The whole thing that I've seen is that he's gone a few stalkers, he's walled off his ramp, he's gone for an expansion, so I have to scan to see what's coming. I see 3-gate robot, and I understand that Immortals and Colossi are not too far away. I do want to get a Raven to be able to snipe off the observers, and maybe help prepare to get against stalkers in a later game, but save some energy. I'm sending out my Hellions to go ahead and watch the 2 places so I can see when he gets his 3rd, if he's playing really greedy. I can see anytime he moves out, for the majority part, unless he skims around the edges. And I have complete faith in my ability to drop another early command center. Building my 3 factories, my 3rd factory, I try to stay on 3 until I have my 6 gases in place. After the 3 factories, I also decide at about what tech should I branch off to. Sometimes I do this at 2, depending on what I scout. I produce a single Viking so I can help ward off flying observers. I start producing some siege tanks, and I get the armor for mechanical units, as it scales well with a future air transition. I don't want to invest too much in upgrades because I still haven't established too much gas. The reason why I don't have that much gas is because I decided to save and not mine it yet, so I could drop my 3rds much faster than his. Since mine is already done, I can already use it for mules and SCVs. A big part of my army largely consists of Hellions. This is because I saw a lot of stalkers in the robotics facility. Blink is very possible. As you can see, he's actually researching Blink, so I made the right choice. I'm starting to produce some medevacs to either assist my Hellbats or to start dropping his bits. Still producing a siege tank at a time. I put my Viking up so that I can see if he exits the base so I can retreat. But I do want to destroy his rock so I can slip in anytime I want. I pull my barracks back and decide that I'm going to start gas production, so I start a Ghost Academy, along with another factory and another starport. I see that he's investing a lot in the Immortals, so I want to be able to get a lot of Banshees, if necessary. If we look at the Protoss tech, we can see that he's going for fast Zealots and he's going for Templar, and this can be one of the most difficult strategies to deal with besides mass air. This is because Zealots are really well against mech compositions and Storm are really well against Hellbats. So it's kind of a counter depending on how you play it out. Starting the Ghost production with +2, I also decided that I want to poke around the map a little bit more. I dropped down a PDD, point defense drone, to force the stalkers to go away, and I begin my drop harass. As we can see, it's very efficient. We've killed 11 workers so far. We're also now in this space. Doing these kinds of drop harass is important because it keeps the Protoss units in its space, allowing you to not only play more greedy, but get up more infrastructure. A lot of what I feel Terran mech is infrastructure, not the actual units, but the actual ability to be able to either reproduce them or delay them from reaching your infrastructure by the means of command centers, planetary fortress. I'm getting ready to, I'm putting down another command center and I'm getting 3 starports, getting ready for an air transition. He tries to attack me here, but I not only EMP him, but I point defense drone. My Hellions are faster than his stalkers, so I'm able to snipe quite a few of them for free, and that is also huge. Due to my harass, he's at 66 workers and I'm at 61. However, I have 4 command centers, almost 4 command centers, and each mule is about 4.5 SCVs. So really, I'm ahead in terms of economy. And now begin my preparation for the late game. I'm starting +3 armor and cloak, throwing in some Thors because he still is getting a lot of stalkers. The Thors are there to help me ease the transition from ground to air. I also have my fusion core going after I have the starports up because they're still usable to get Banshees. At this stage of the game, I also decide that it's pretty close to this possibility to be able to do he's got plenty of gas to start getting Templar, so I put a missile turret in each of these. I also start researching in Malta.
Got any extra firepower?
One of the things you want to do is keep the watchtowers. You always want to know what the Protoss is doing, if he's tech changing, how many units he has, and you want to try to counter his composition. But another great thing is to try to contain the Protoss, so that if you start losing units, you're not fighting where they spawn, which could be very problematic for you. Focusing on the gas first, we can see that I'm close to max instead of C, although he has a lot more bank. Trying to get a perfect position, I can see that he's trying to surround me or a way out, so I retreat back and try to out-position him, basically. Siege my siege tanks there, and I scan so that I can know when he moves out, and I just make sure that he can't surround me. Watching him go up the ramp, trying to scan him, but I don't actually have any more energy, so I try to retreat and cut him off to see if he goes for my 3rd base. The biggest thing I don't want to do is initiate a base race.
Our SCVs are under attack.
Now that my scans are back, I can reposition my army. I choose not to reveal the battle cruisers yet. Now my whole army has +3 armor, and I'm beginning to start air attack.
Our SCVs are under attack.
I wanted to expand to 2 different places at different sides of the map, however he was able to stop both. With the mineral surplus and no fighting going on, I decided to drop 4 command centers. This is because 2 of them become planetaries, or even 3 of them, and the 4th can become an orbital. This delays the amount of time. EMP is going down on his own promise, by the way. This delays the amount of time, increases the amount of time I have to create a whole new mech army. Minerals isn't the greatest problem in mech. If you have a lot of orbitals, you can drop a lot of units. Now that we've killed his army, and it's kind of, you know, we're both kind of resupplying ourselves, so however my onslaught is still forward, I decide that maybe it's a time I push into this little base and sacrifice these units. My goal here is to kill as many workers as I can, and even the base equipment. Just to try to keep him back into his base, will make his counterattacks weaker. I also want to delay time for my command centers. Building battlecruisers and still dropping and harassing them. I retreat my Raven. It's one of the more expensive things after I drop a point defense drone to stall for more time. I start 2 planetary fortresses and 3 orbitals. This guarantees that I have a massive amount of income and can grow it faster even if I'm on the same amount of mineral patches. Restart Raven energy and +2 attack. I'm going to need the Raven energy because once you get it, they could not only be only 25 energy away from a point defense drone, they can hunt your secret missile right away. I also start producing building armor, since I now have so much map presence with the use of planetary fortresses. It is in my best interest to make sure that it takes as long as possible to kill them.
Ready to plunder.
At this stage of the game, I'm trading my minerals for command centers, and I'm trading my gas for high-tech units. I know that he's resource starved because I've killed a lot of workers. It's currently 67 to 67. However, I have about 8 orbital commands. Yeah, about 8 orbital commands. And I've killed 45 workers. Producing more ghosts, ravens, getting the ghost energy, and the Thor because I've seen a lot of stalkers. He doesn't have a lot of air infrastructure. In fact, I don't believe he has any. Which means that the Thor and the Hellbats are great to support the battlecruisers. The more stalkers he needs, the more Thors I can use to counter his stalkers, which needs more immortals, but immortals cannot shoot up. I see that the temp are there, so I want to make sure that he doesn't come up behind me. It's important so that I keep a check on his army and where they are. Trying to draw him a little bit back and snipe some of the Templar. I sent in my Hellions. It was unsuccessful. Because of this, I decided to Yamato everything I can so he cannot beat back my battle cruisers. Because of this, now his overall damage against my battle cruisers is less, and it will take more to kill them. If we look at the income, it's about even. However, my gas supply is much higher. I drop down the point defense drone for the stalkers, and I engage his army. All of his immortals and zealots are now dead supply. I dropped the mules to go ahead and try to repair, however, he did have a lot of ground forces to stop me, so that was a mistake on my part. However, I'm using this time to go ahead and move my command center to another base. The armies fighting are very cost efficient for me. Even though I don't have +3 attack, it's still, I'm not only able to keep him in his base, but I was able to snipe his fresh new one while I'm establishing mine. You'll see that as I drop these moves, my income will skyrocket way up the hills. As he is 1,500 and now I'm at 2,500. This allows me to dump 3,000. This allows me to dump more resources into Hellions and Hellbats or even command centers. I try to EMP his stalkers and send in my units, however he has immortals to snipe down the planetary fortress. It doesn't in fact no doubt. Forced to retreat because of his lack of anti-air, I decided to drop another base right away. I know that he needs to stall time and make sure that he can drop his expansion. I did, however, place an engineering bay there to stop him, or slow him down as much as I could. At this stage of the game, my gas geysers are starting to break down, but I have a lot of minerals, so I want to invest in them wisely. Since I'm getting a lot of Hellions, I'd also decide to go to blue flag. Throw in some Thors and some more battle cruisers, as I still keep producing command centers.
It's heating up out here.
At this stage, we can establish that he might tech change really soon, so I get the high-sec auto-tracking. This is for missile turrets if I need them, or planetary fortresses to snipe units that are trying to stand behind them and pick up the mineral line. I also now begin my ground attack, since my mech army is fully upgraded. Always try to keep a check on where his army is or where the most important units are. With seeing that many high temper there, I can fully acknowledge that he's not prepared to attack my base anytime soon. However, if he did attempt it, it would be unsuccessful. I throw down another command center near my new mining base, so I can make it another planetary fortress. This is to ensure its maximum survivability while I'm away with my biggest army, basically to give enough time. I noticed my giant amount of mineral surplus, so I dropped down 3 more command centers. One of the reasons why we get so many command centers is not only because it gives us a greater income, it allows us to substitute our mules for SUVs. Seeing him come in here, I try to EMP him and drop down some point defense rounds. The biggest thing that I want to do is not flat out engage his army, but I want to kill his expansions, his bases. The more that I can add expansion, the more resources I can throw away at the problem. At this stage of the game, I'm not trying to be the most efficient, cost efficient. I'm just trying to throw money at the problem, make sure that he doesn't have enough money to retaliate. Yamatoing his other base, he's now back down to the same situation as earlier, where he's fighting my battle cruisers, this time with more upgrades, and he doesn't have as much mining income. As you can tell, he's at 880 and I'm at 1,000. This is only because I have not dropped the mules in a while. Once I drop them, my income will skyrocket up.
Ghost reporting.
Oh, and I suppose some mineral patch is depleted. I'll try to move another base over to the top right so I can focus my attacks and efforts over there. As you can see, his income is really low compared to mine. The more mules I add on and the more SCVs I add, the more I skyrocket. I now have twice his income and almost double his gas. He tries to attack my bottom left base, however I send my SCVs to surround it right away. Once I notice he retreats, I go ahead and prepare my position. Since this command center cannot reach its destination, I decide to make that ramp less accessible for him and turn it into a planetary fortress. I EMP'd his stalkers and tried to move in closer, so if he blinked, I was still attacking.
Mineral field depleted.
On top of all of this, I'm still producing the upgrades, I'm still producing battle cruisers, and I'm still producing helicopters. We can add another command center to once again expand even more. We can see that his army is suffering greatly because of his economy. Although he had a large bank, it is now mostly depleted, and he's trying to find weaknesses in my defenses in order to be able to attack me.
Are under attack. Mineral field upgrade complete.
Once again, scanning his base so that I know what is the optimal amount of time I can go up to it and get him to cancel.
Depleted.
It's not the base that's on the right side. It's not the highest base that I'm more concerned with. I mean, the second highest base is the highest base. I don't want him to double expand and catch back up in resources or economy. Attacking him once more, I see that this is where all of his workers are. Almost all of his other minerals have been depleted, so I decide to suicide my units in order to be able to snipe that mining expansion. If we look at his base, we can see that this is the last one that's mining. Once we've destroyed this nexus, he's now only mining from far distances. His income is shattered. Grabbing another base down here, I secure my victory and reposition my army to follow it. I always want to make sure that I know where his army is so I can engage in the most optimal positions. As he's trying to attack in my planetary fortress, I Yamato his Archons, since they are really well against Hellbats. Battlecruisers moving in, Hellbats moving in. I'm not too concerned. We make our other basic commands a planetary fortress so that we can additionally prevent any type of Hellion or Zealot harass. Make sure that the mining is uninterrupted unless he sends a large amount of units. Excuse me. Now we drop since we have so many command centers, we can drop a large amount of mules and supplement it with a lot of SCVs from our other bases. As his income is 700, mine is skyrocketing to above 2,000, 2,500. And now as the workers come in, it should go up to about 3,000. As he's finally established his income again with those command centers, we can see it starting to rise. This means that once again he is starting to catch up in resources. Even though we've been trading fairly, throwing away a lot of money problems, throwing away a lot of resources, we want to make sure that he can't catch up with those resources. We want to make sure he can't replace them. So I go ahead and attack him again. If I'm engaging him up here, he does not have the resources to engage me down below. Once he's out of resources, he loses the game. So I come back up and show that I'm ready to take the space by not only sending the command center, I'm in fact sending a few SCVs to start long distance mining as well. The less resources he has there, the more I can collect from it, the more I can help him in the future. Realizing that although he may have taken the mining base again, it may not be the best to engage with this Templar, so I try to snipe it. I'm well aware that he's trying to enter. I'll go near my bottom left base. Since I did get the building armor and now repairing it, and it does take quite a bit of amount of units to be able to destroy it. In the process of this, I try to send any reinforcements to help defend, and I drop some mules because he's sniping SCVs. The mules are there so that I can continue repairing it or mining it depending on how worse the situation gets. At this stage we can tell that his income was shattered. He only has 2 mineral patches that are close left, as are these really low, and I have a new mining base. Along with this base here, you can see that most of the map is cluttered with planetary fortresses. One of the reasons why this is great is because in the late game, once it becomes down to the final units, whatever units are left, if there are some ground units, they're going to have difficulty reaching my infrastructure, or reaching my orbital commands, or any place at all, while these planetaries are in place. It will make it a lot harder for him to finish me off, along with some missile turrets. Since our defense was so great, we were able to pick at his weaknesses, and always replenish our army without the threat of a counterattack. This is one of my favorite styles to play Terran against Protoss. It's this massive turtle but massive aggressive style, with lots of command centers, planetary fortresses, and orbital commands. I believe this is one of the most inefficient, however APM intensive ways to play. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed the game.